Blast has been practically invisible for the past 20 years in his battle with God, where even then, without the help of Saitama, would have failed in the battle with Garou. He neglected his son, lost his best friend, and more, all kind of for nothing. All I'm saying, Blast, is that the general public is starting to hit you with some fraud allegations. Void reveals that when he absorbed the cosmic power of Garou after his planetary battle with Saitama, he realized Garou was actually a failed avatar of gods. You see, despite being bestowed with his power, Garou held a dark secret which actually nerfed it. Firstly, we need to remember that Garou actually rejected the hand of God to begin with. He saw through his manipulations, but by slapping away this deity's hands, he accepted a percentage of that power regardless. That's not all though, there's also the fact that he had broken his limiter. Remember, this is the natural cap of your body's abilities and strength placed upon you by God. Dr. Genus in chapter 88 explained that too much power inside one person creates problems. For example, they can become a rampaging, mindless monster, which we've seen happen in the story. Hence why God placed this limiter to try and stop humanity evolving to a point they can't recover from. However, in chapter 92, Psychos explains that to break your limiter, your body has to survive extreme, life-threatening situations repeatedly. Only after enduring this process multiple times can someone experience an explosive surge in power and evolve. This is exactly what happened to Saitama through his grueling training routine, saying to train your spirit, never use a heater in winter or air conditioning in the summer. At first it'll feel like it's killing you. You'll want to quit, but I wanted to be a strong hero. So I pushed through every day until I vomited blood. Even when I could barely move or my body felt broken, I did my squats and push-ups. Then after a year, I noticed a change. I was bald, but I was strong. Because of this, Saitama pushed his human limits without any help, refusing to give up, thus breaking his limiters and unlocking his insane evolved strength. The same thing happened to Garou. In chapter 88, whilst fighting against the Royal Ripper and Bug God, he was forced into one deadly situation after another. Each time his body adapted to survive, where eventually Garou transformed into a rampaging monster as if his power exploded. However, in order to stop this monstification, you must continue to embrace your humanity. This happened with Garou. It's why he was a failed avatar. Furthermore, after facing Saitama and realizing the damage he had done to the likes of Tario, the kind of people he was supposed to be protecting, he abandoned his desire for absolute evil levels of strength and instead became in touch with his human side. Void, however, does not understand this yet, because he can now counter Blast's power of darkness, which goes against God's light. On top of that, Void has also remembered the burning hatred he had for Blast, which God's will actually made him forget. Thus, Blast was forced into serious mode. We have never seen him like this before. Remember, in the entire story so far, Blast has never taken damage, but that's about to change. Bringing us onto possibly the best speed feat in the entire One Punch Man story, because Blast asks Flashy Flash to hold his glasses, throwing them to him to catch, signaling the beginning of their battle. Even though Void has managed to deal with Blast's Dimension Cannon and Gravity Knuckle, he still has tricks up his sleeve, landing multiple punches. He teleports constantly, not giving Void the chance to transcend into a different dimension, because if that happens, he will become untraceable. However, Void reveals his own tricks only achievable by the leader of the ninja village himself. He twists his entire body around 180 degrees, managing to cut off Blast's arm through the portal before he could land his punch. But bear in mind that in the time it took for this fight to take place, Flash had only just caught the sunglasses, meaning that in his point of view, bro just threw his sunglasses then had his arm chopped off. It's low-key kind of fraudulent behavior, I'm not gonna lie. But this means that things just went from bad to worse for Blast, because now he can't even use his teleportation as he can't put his fists together. This means that with the boring magic trick now useless, they can no longer dodge this dimension slash. They're nothing more than helpless sitting ducks being forced to watch as cities around the world and their citizens are shredded to pieces. In spite of all this, Blast calls Void's bluff. He explains that there's a shifty look in his eyes. If he were the same empty Void he faced off against 15 years ago, then he would have gone straight for Blast's head and killed him. But because he absorbed Garou's limitless power, God's brainwashing is wearing off, which is kind of facts. Because remember, Void himself in this chapter literally said that he remembers how much he hated Blast now, feeling which God had subdued. Nonetheless, Void is still a hater at the end of the day, and so he slices Blast up all across his body before stabbing him in the chest. He tells the #1 hero that he is the one who needs to wake up to reality. Void learnt recently how Blast managed to reach his spot in the S-Class, claiming he was always irresponsibly preaching ideals and bringing disaster to those around him, ultimately hitting him with the hard truth. So who have you managed to protect, huh? And well, he's kinda got a point. Void even tries to use Blast's son against him, bringing him up, which is when Flash jumps into the fight. Despite Blast's warning, he believes he's doing the right thing. He also questions Void's true intentions as well, because if he knew Blast's weak spot was his son, then why didn't he try and target that weakness from the beginning? After all, that's what they're taught at the Ninja Village. In spite of this, Void slices Flashy up before dodging Sonic's kick by transcending into his own pocket dimension outside of the causality of the universe. They had lost. Now, if you want to learn more about what I mean by this, check this video out on your screen right now.